The Boston Celtics suffered a devastating loss to the Denver Nuggets last night, getting their first home loss of the season, breaking the 20-0 record, losing 102 to 100. And Jayson Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis have spoken out post-game, giving their insight and how they feel, how they reacted to this game. And we'll be breaking down, looking at their reactions on this episode here on Celtics Digest. Welcome back, guys. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we get into any Boston Celtics content, I would like to say that roughly 80% of our viewers are not subscribed, and we greatly appreciate it if you guys hit that big old red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. We're getting closer and closer to our goal of 4,000 subscribers, and you just got us to our goal of 3,000, so we can't thank you guys enough. But if you guys want to make sure you stay up to date on daily Boston Celtics content and coverage, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as you definitely will not regret it. But let's dive into the news at hand today, so make sure to grab a snack, as today's episode is going to be a jam-packed one as we dive into this Celtics news. The first thing we'll be looking at is the Celtics players speak up after the home win streak is now over. And unfortunately, last night for the Boston Celtics, they lost their home win streak, losing to the Denver Nuggets, like I mentioned in the intro, 102 to 100. And the Celtics were putting up a great fight versus this Denver Nuggets team. If you guys missed the game, unfortunately, the Celtics just could not hit shots late in the end of the game. And the Denver Nuggets were led by Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray, who absolutely dominated, putting up almost 70 of the Denver Nuggets 100 points and shooting phenomenal, while the Jays had a little bit of a lackluster shooting night. So if we want to look, and we'll first be discussing Jayson Tatum speaking out, because Jayson Tatum had some plays down in the clutch that I think he could have utilized a little bit better, and he spoke up about them. So first, Jayson Tatum spoke up after the Celtics lost to the Nuggets, and this is a quote from Jack Simone, and he said that we don't lose a lot, so when we do lose, it feels worse than it is. But it's still just one game. We played a really good team today, so blank happens. Just got to go get ready for the next one. And he also said by Jay King that he missed a couple of bunnies at the end, and he just needs to be better at finishing those. So honestly, I agree with Jayson Tatum. Honestly, with the Celtics being such a dominant team, obviously having the best record in the NBA, it is obviously devastating to see them lose this home win streak, and a lot of Celtics fans wanted them to keep it going, especially versus a great team like the Denver Nuggets, and we've played some great teams in the Western Conference. We've had some close matchups. We played the Minnesota Timberwolves not too long ago, and we beat them at home after suffering a loss to them at their building. So playing against the Denver Nuggets was definitely a tough matchup, and like Jayson Tatum said, the Celtics barely lose, so when they do lose, it definitely hits harder on them. They expect themselves to win these tight games, and it's just tough. Jayson Tatum, I'm missing some of those late bunnies. It's going to happen. He just needs to slow his game down, and that's what this next quote kind of goes into on missing his last shot from Jared Weiss, saying that he thinks he kind of rushed it, and that's on me. I had more time than I gave myself. I should have taken more time, but can't go back. Something I can learn from. Now, you want to hear that from, your star player, your leader. That is something great to hear. He wants to learn on this. He wants to make some changes. But Jayson Tatum had two struggling possessions late in the game. I think that the fast break that he had, where he was driving on 3 Denver Nuggets at exhilarating pace, trying to make a layup and trying to get a foul, but fumbling the ball while he's running, he easily could have slowed that down with the last 20 seconds. The Celtics could have had at least 1 or 2 guys come up from transition in the half court. He could have played it out, even gotten the ball back and reset for a nice 3 little seconds to take a nice little drive with a step back, with a little through the legs and drives with the right hand to try to get a foul call, or even if he brings it up and passes it to Jaylen Brown or something like that with his full, I know Jaylen Brown didn't have the greatest game last night, but going downhill, he might be able to finish that for the Boston Celtics. Unfortunately, Jayson Tatum tried to make a weird layup. It missed and got no foul call. And then on the last shot of the game, the one that he's referring to, was with 4 seconds left when Jayson Tatum took that one-legged stepped fadeaway. He unfortunately missed, had about 2 more seconds left on the clock, so he easily could have backed him down a little bit more, gotten a little closer, maybe gotten a little bit more comfortable in his shot, but it is A-okay. Unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, it wasn't a great shooting night from the Jays. Jayson Tatum just didn't have it. He had some alright big shots, but Kristaps Porzingis and Derrick White were leading this team offensively, and when they got into ruts in the 3-point range late in the game, it was definitely tough for the Boston Celtics to close it out. That is one thing that has happened with this Celtics team, is obviously the third quarters are collapsing, and that is something. But late in the game, when we need a closer, it is sometimes tough for the Boston Celtics to have one. But if we want to keep looking at some of these quotes, we can see that this quote is about Joe Mazzulla speaking out, and he said that Joe Mazzulla on Jayson Tatum's late transition missed. All I kept thinking is that Gary Washburn from the Globe wants us to shoot more layups. And I thought this was kind of funny because Gary Washburn and Joe Mazzulla have obviously had their backs and forths this season, and I thought it was just a little funny tidbit of throwing in there. Joe Mazzulla just saying, you guys hate when we shoot the threes in the clutch. You guys know that we try to go for a three every single time to win the game, so we'll try to switch it up and go down low in the paint. Unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, Aaron Gordon was guarding Jayson Tatum, a very good defender, and it was a tough shot for Jayson Tatum to take. In my personal opinion, I don't think it was the best shot that we could have taken. But we got to learn and live, and unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, we just got to move on to the next game, and hopefully they'll be able to bounce back in that. But let's look at what Kristaps Porzingis had to say after this game as well. Because Kristaps Porzingis, if you guys did not watch the game, had a fantastic first quarter for the Celtics, scoring out of the first 14 points for the Celtics, scoring 11 of them, and absolutely dominating, hitting some big threes, getting some points in the paint, making Jokic looked like he had lost a little bit in the first quarter, but then Jokic got comfortable, started understanding things. Porzingis didn't really get that many opportunities late in the game, and we can talk about that as well because he just wasn't really, prioritized. The Jays kind of started to take over. Derrick White started hitting some big shots. Porzingis wasn't as valued as much late in the game, but Porzingis doesn't really care about that. And a lot of videos that I watched, Porzingis was very calm and collective, saying he wants to just do whatever's for the team, and then he wants to do what's best. So here, Porzingis talks about Nikola Jokic from Jared Weiss, and he says that Nikola Jokic is a pure basketball talent, and he's a pure basketball mastermind. Porzingis also had to say on Jokic that, as he said before, he's the best player in the world, and if that we see them in the postseason, it's going to be a big chess match. And I totally agree with Kristaps Porzingis. We want to look back and look at them. He's a pure basketball talent. He's a pure basketball mind. The Celtics tried to limit Jokic in his passing in the beginning of the game and make him a scorer. Unfortunately for the Boston Celtics, later on in the game, the shots that he was passing up were leading into scores for the other players. At first, they weren't really hitting, so the Boston Celtics were getting a little bit lucky. But then Nikola Jokic obviously putting up 6 points, or whatever he put up, is ridiculous. He put up at least 30 on this Boston Celtics team. Then also, he is the best player, one of the best players in the world. Him versus Joel Embiid is definitely a great race and a great debate that we're not going to be having on Celtics Digest, but I would say he's one of the best players in the world. And also, if we see them in the postseason, it's going to be a big chess match. I can agree with that as well. The Celtics have matched up against 3 of the top teams in the Western Conference, primarily in the Thunder, the Nuggets, and the Timberwolves. And they're all from the Northwest Division. The Boston Celtics versus the Timberwolves have had 2 overtime games, one where they lost in Minnesota, but one where they bounced back at home in a great win led by Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Then if we want to talk about the Thunder, the Celtics unfortunately lost that game in Oklahoma City, but had a slow start to the game and almost brought it back late in the fourth quarter. And then obviously versus this Denver Nuggets team, it was back and forth the whole way. Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray absolutely carried this Denver Nuggets team offensively, and honestly, the Celtics weren't clicking as a full unit offensively throughout the whole game. The Celtics can do that. I believe that the Boston Celtics could beat this team. So I think if the Celtics face any of these 3 teams in a 7-game series, it is going to be a chess match, like Kristaps Porzingis said. It's going to be a tough series for both teams involved. It's going to go 6 or 7 games, and that is what fans of the sport want to see, is a great finals run, especially from some teams in the Western Conference that haven't gotten that much love. Obviously the Thunder, the Timberwolves, the Nuggets. Besides the Nuggets winning last season, they really haven't had a lot of postseason prowess. So it's really cool to see those teams kind of competing in the Western Conference. But let me know what you guys' thoughts and opinions are on the comments from today's video from Jayson Tatum, Joe Mazzulla, one comment, and Kristaps Porzingis. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, the Boston Celtics do lose this game to the Denver Nuggets, but they will look to bounce back in their next game, and I'm so excited to break that down for you guys here on Celtics Digest. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode. If you guys are still at this point in the video and still aren't subscribed, what are you guys doing? Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm Bruce Veliz. Peace out.